This weekend it is the OULTON Park Gold Cup 1964 Vauxhall Viva HA, a two-door moggy saloon. Driver's eye view. A glorious pre-war Riley here. My gum, there's a bit of work there. Saab Sonic. Now this is one of the V4 cars. We've got a Fiat Topolino or Little Mouse. Wowzers, step-side pickup truck. Well, one car that I definitely wanted to have a closer look at. Beautiful car. Well, good morning folks, and you join us on a slightly blowy but otherwise dry OULTON Park morning, and this weekend it is the OULTON Park Gold Cup. Today is Saturday, the second of this three-day event, and we thought we'll come and have a look, see what's going on. We are here in the trusty MX-5. What a gem this is. I love the MGC GT, it's up for sale. Looks like a really good user, not too shiny. £11,500 for this one, so that looks quite tempting. Nice steel wheels on it as well. That would, yeah, that would do you, young man, wouldn't it?
That was one of the first ones.
Yeah, we didn't make them for too long, the MGCs. But we're definitely in good company today. It's a little Dello type car, just driving over the back there. It's not a Dello, but looks a bit like one. Yeah. Yeah, it's been here many times, but yeah, I think we're going to be set for a great day, and we'll have a look, try and capture as many possible of the cars on film. There are cars just starting to arrive. We got here super duper early. Yeah, this is quite nice. So to begin with, we are in the classic car auction area, and well, there's something for every taste. Perfect shopping car there. Little VW powered buggy. A VW as Wolfsburg intended, and here we've got a Carmen Cabriolet version. Oh no, in the end, a Fiat Abarth. A lovely little car, registered 1965. There are quite a few modern classics in the auction area, so obviously we will be prioritising these slightly older cars. Yeah, let's go and have a look, see what there is. We've got a rubber bumper MGB GT here in black. I wonder what the estimate is on this, about what, 3-4, something like that. No reserve on this one. Yeah, good starter classic there. This TVR, it is very modified indeed. Not quite sure where this one's been used, but yeah. Certainly different. Alongside the TVR is an E46 BMW, one of the 3 Series. We've got a Reliant Scimitar GTE, one of the SE6 cars. Saab Cabriolet, a 1964 Vauxhall Viva HA. Slightly different wheels, chrome at one time. Yeah. Fun little car, Bentley over here. A TR7 drophead coupe on a W registration. It's a fairly late production Triumph TR7. M3. Got a Mazda MX-5, a Mark III version of the MX-5. Probably a nice cheap little run around for someone. A Ford Sierra XR 4x4, so that's the 4-wheel drive V6 powered Sierra with a particularly sizable exhaust on it. And what do we have here? An H registered, so quite a late example of the Morris Minor 1000, a two-door moggy saloon. And again, that looks like perfect starter classic material there. That'd be a good one for my youthful assistant, that would. Looks pretty straight. Obviously I have to look in all the usual places, underneath the sills, the floors, where the wings bolt on round there. They are quite prone to rusting down, just down here as well. So you'd want to have a good poke around if you were thinking of bidding on this, but yeah, on the face of it, doesn't look too bad. Not immaculate by any means, but it looks like just like a good honest moggy. Bit of classic bus action. There's a Leyland over there too. What's with all the buses? Anyway, back to the auction cars. BMW Z4, Golf Mark III over there, Porsche here. Now, a little Renault 4. So what year is this? 85. Still with the dealer sticker in the back window. The Renault 4 GTL. That's a bonny wee car. I do like those. I could very happily run one of those. I love the fact that the indicator on the wing is in the diamond shape of the Renault badge. Sliding windows in these. So this was Renault's answer to the Citroën 2CV. Yes, bonny car, looks really original paint, a bit polished through in places, but none the worse for that. Yeah. Great little car, that one. So what's the estimate? Something 5,000 to 7,000. 4 owners from new. Bit surfacey under there, so I want to give that a bit of a treatment before too long. Yeah. Nice little car. Apologies, I'm being distracted by a particularly fine fleet of buses. I never expected to be admiring classic PSVs or public service vehicles here today at OULTON Park, but yeah, I'm very pleased to see these. We'll show a little bit of the on-track action a bit later on in the video, but for now I'm going to admire some classic double-decker action. Bit of a surprise, but fantastic. So what are we looking at here? Is it the Leyland Atlantean perhaps? Right, so we've tracked down the driver of one of these fine buses. So what's the story with this great collection here?
So these first 2 vehicles are owned by us as a family. So this was the first restoration we did about 5 years ago, 1523.
Oh, right.
A lot of family history with it. Parents bought it for me 3 elder siblings when it came out of service in the 80s.
Wow.
Family life got in the way, sold it on, and an opportunity 5 years ago arose to buy it back. So this is a nut and bolt restoration effectively.
Is it?
The St Helens one to the left, the red and cream one, that one was repasteurised. It was exported to Canada.
Was it?
And it came back in the noughties,
Yeah.
and that's another nut and bolt restoration. And the green one, so this one is something we've just purchased recently.
Is it?
So yeah, so someone we knew was
Fantastic.
stepping away from bus restoration.
So what make are we looking at with the green?
So we've got 2 Leyland PD2s, which is the green one and the red and cream one,
okay.
and the Ribble one in the middle is a PD3.
Right, so that's the
all
Leyland
Leylands.
PD3. So because they're badged up as Ribble, aren't they? So is that specific to them, that particular?
Yeah, that's the last surviving one of 104 ordered by Ribble.
Was it?
That's on the road.
Fantastic. No, that's great, that is. Right, so we've got the okay to go and have a look inside this glorious Ribble PD3. Let's have a look in here. Wow. The driver's eye view. A lovely sort of diesely smell in here. What a fantastic interior. I love all the interior appointments. The effort that goes in to restoring these old PSVs is just incredible, and the cost, well, that doesn't bear thinking about. But I'm so glad that people are saving these fantastic old double-decker and single-decker buses. So let's go and have a little look upstairs. One of the events there. Let me know your memories of old double-deckers. Here we are going up on the top deck. Well, this would be perfect for viewing the racing. Quite a low roof. I can't quite stand up fully. Isn't that just lovely? I love this trim. I assume this was all made specially for the job. Just really nicely finished inside. The emergency door in the back. You wouldn't fancy hopping out of there in a hurry, I must admit. It's I don't fancy exiting that way, but we get a unique perspective of the cars in the auction area. So that's pretty cool. Again, big thanks for letting me have a quick wander around inside this beautiful Ribble double-decker. Now we will gingerly go down these stairs. I was admiring the trim. Presumably all these patterned, the seat coverings all has to be ordered specifically, do they?
The seat covers were ordered and we had to import them from Turkey. We had to have a run in Turkey done. We had to, so if anyone wants to buy 6 rolls of briquette,
you're the place to come, are you?
Oh,
What a treat to see these fantastic double-deckers here today. Anyway, let's carry on. Mustn't get too distracted, but it's so easily done when old buses suddenly turn up. But back to the auction area. Here's that lovely little Moggy, about 1970. There's a Renault 4 we were looking at. Sierra. Right, let's go and find something else old. There's the front of the nice little Vauxhall Viva HA there, 64. An Alpina spec BMW 3 Series. This is an early E30 with the slightly different backlights compared to most that you see. So what's the spec on this one? It's 323i Alpina from 1984. So, handsome looking motor car. Alpha Spider alongside that from the mid to late 1980s. The Honda S2000. Jaguar. What else can we find that's old? Well, I think these two qualify as old. Here, an Oldsmobile 98. What an incredible looking car that is. Nicely polished through in places. That's just got a great look to it. Incredible looking car. 1958 this one. Not for the shy and retiring this. It's a 4-door, so it's a Mordor. We like Mordor cars. Here it's an old classic car, but yeah, it's a 1958, the height of the Finn era really. Little dealer supplier badge on the back. Bradley of Tulsa. So where's that? Oklahoma perhaps, is it? What a bonkers looking car that is. And alongside it something else equally wild. A mighty, I'm guessing, is it a Buick? Look at the chrome on that. A fuel filler there built in to the rear bumper. Again a Mordor. So this is a 59 Buick Super, so the year after the olds that's alongside. Estimate 20 to 25. You certainly get a lot of car for your money. Last time I came here a couple of years ago, there were a couple of slightly earlier American cars that I was blown away by, and they didn't go for much at all. I wonder how well these will do.
Exactly. Unless it's been in.
Let's carry on along this road. We've got it's almost like a matte finish 350 SL Mercedes, complete with hardtop. That's the R107 series. Real quality car, but I don't know what's going on with this paint. Very strange paint finish on that. Next to that, a conventionally finished MGB Roadster. This one's on chrome bumpers, but it's on an X registration, so it must be one of the very last, surely. And it's been converted from rubber bumpers to give it the older MGB look. Got a TVR Griffith alongside, a Cobra replica there. What else have we got? An M5 based on the E39 5 Series BMW. The Mitsubishi Evo over there. So let's keep looking for the older cars. Got a very natty little MG over here. That's a little TC, I believe. Let's have a look. Let's cheat. Yep, TC Midget 1947. Next to the TC, we have a Jaguar E-Type. So it's a Series 2. It's got the open headlights, just like the very last of the Series 1.5s that came before. Different indicator, side light treatment on these, different air intake, different bumper. So this was the Series 2. It's a right-hand drive. At first I thought it may be a left hooker with these white wall tyres, and the colour just made me think a little bit of a US import, but I don't know if it is. Estimate 30 to 35. It's had mirrors on here at some point. A bit of paintwork too. Okay, next up in this lineup of auction entries we have a BMW 2002 Tii. Jazzily finished in Martini inspired livery. We've got mini light style wheels on it as well. The interior is trimmed to match. Very, very jazzy interior. It's got a nice little spoiler on the back, a bit like the old 2002 Turbo type spoiler. This is a fairly late 02 with the rectangular lamps as opposed to the little ones, little circular lamps. It's interesting how this little trim strip runs all the way, usually to go across the boot as well, all the way down the side and round the front. Yeah. Very neat little car. Next to that we've got an Austin Healey 3000 Mark III, the big Healey. Yeah, that would do very, very nicely. Estimate 50 to 60. That's a 1967 car. TVR 350i, one of the wedge TVRs alongside that. And yeah, this Healey, quite a presentable car. Aston over here, and on the end, the 1964 Triumph TR4. You can see an XK120 in there, and some Ferraris, but let's go and have a look round here at some of the older cars. A glorious pre-war Riley here, Now, there are so many different variations of Riley, I'm going to have to cheat on this one, I'm afraid. So this is a 1934 Riley 12.4 Lynx Tourer. Estimate 18 to 22. What a glorious car. That is 4-seater Tourer. Isn't that just great? You know, they say the prices of pre-war cars are softening a little bit. So that's making them a little bit more accessible. I mean, it's still a chunk of money, but you know, if you want to buy something properly old, the prices are, if not going up at this, or levelling, and in some cases dropping a little bit. Here we've got an Austin 10.4 chrome rad car. These were built 32 to 1934, later replaced by the Austin 10.4 Litchfield. This is a narrow body car. They did 2 widths of body. I'm not quite sure if it's the early ones were narrow and the later ones are wider. What year is this one? 33, so this is slap bang in the middle. But yeah, you can tell when you look at these on the wide bodies, the body is more out here and there's less of the rear mudguards sticking out, but this is a narrow body car, I'm pretty certain. But this is just slightly larger than, say, an Austin 7, and in many respects it's probably a little bit of a better bet. It's a 4-door car, whereas the Austin 7s, apart from the big 7 at the end of production, all the Austin 7s were 2 doors. The big 7 was available as a 4-door. But these 10.4s were all 4-door cars, and I just think they're just a little bit bigger than an Austin 7, a little bit more space inside, a bit more room for your flask and your box of sandwiches, bagels, that kind of thing. So these are often overlooked in preference to Austin 7s, but actually, if I was going to buy a little pre-war Austin saloon, it'd be one of these I'd go for. What was the estimate? I forgot to look. No reserve. Oof. So this is just one of those sort of cars that could just sneak through and not sell for a huge amount. I'd be very tempted with that. Okay, and here we have an Austin 7 Ruby. So what are these worth? Sort of 5, 6, 7,000, something like that usually. No reserve on this one either. 1936. Yeah. No, this is just a little bit older. I like the slightly older Austins with the chrome radiators as opposed to the painted surrounds. Obviously they were modernising them a little bit. The Austin 10.4 Litchfield, which replaced the 10.4, had a radiator surround and a look very similar to this, the Ruby. Yeah, I really like that. Fancy a project? Well, what do we have here? On a private registration plate, a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 1. Right, there's a bit of work there. Plenty of tin worm. Yes, I think you'd have to be pretty brave to take this one on. I've got a feeling this one probably won't be going back on the road. Quite a classy car, obviously. But values are such that is it really worth buying a ropey one and spending acres of money to get it on the road when you could just buy one that's on the road for a fraction of the overall cost of restoring one like this? I've got a feeling this will end up being a spares car. Another project here. Ooh, by gum, there's a bit of work there. E-Type 4.2, that's a Series 2. It's a Series 2, 2+2. So slightly longer than the earlier fixed heads. This is a manual gearbox though. Some of these were autos, but by gum, again. I suppose if you've got the skills and the time, you could take on a project like this, but the value of the final car is always going to be a little bit compromised, because even though it is an E-Type, Series 2, 2+2s, they only have a fairly small following in the E-Type world. Much taller roof compared to the regular coupes, a bit longer, proportions slightly different compared to the earlier 3.8 fixed heads and so on. But yeah, there's a mountain of work there. Where's that been sat all these years? Looks like it's been sat under a tree, complete with leaves. Will the Jaguar roar again, I wonder? That ratchet strap hasn't done the bonnet any favours. At least the pigeons like it. No reserve on this one. Parked in the barn since 1986. This will keep you quiet for a few weekends. But you never know, it might be the most affordable way into E-Type ownership if that's what you want. If you've got the time, the skills, the patience, you could take this on and restore it. Yes. Let me know if you do end up buying this one. And also let me know what your plans are for it if you end up seeing this video and buying this slightly poorly looking E-Type. Right, let's carry on down here. There's also a Lancia Coupe over here. Needs a little bit of TLC as well. Looks like someone's made a start on dismantling it and then promptly gave up for whatever reason. Lancia 2000 Coupe, 1973. A very stylish car once, back in the day. It's going to take a little bit of TLC before that sees the road again. Over here we got a 323i BMW, a 6-cylinder BMW. So this is the E21 series of BMW 3 Series. It predates the E30s that we usually see at many of the shows that we get to. It's got a very smart set of alloy wheels on it. This one dates to 1983. Let me know in the comments which of these project cars you would be willing to take on, if any. A very smart Bentley Arnage at the end of this next row. This one dates to 1997. Display cars still pouring in. Let's carry on down this row of auction entries. Oh, and a gorgeous Mercedes. So what's that, 1971, 72-ish? That is a stunning car. I spent a lot of time reading up on the W108 and W109 series cars. This is a 300 SEL. So that's the V8, that would be the W109, I believe. But such a quality car. I was so tempted with one of these before the Pilot came along. I was looking at two 6-cylinder versions of these and it was very, very tempting. It was only the fact that they had fuel injection put me off a little bit, because I know the parts for the Bosch fuel injection, which is also fitted to these, the V8s, they can be a bit hard to find and are priced accordingly. So that really was the only thing that put me off. I think these V8s also have air suspension at the back, whereas the 6-cylinder cars don't. And it was the 6-cylinder cars that I was looking at. I think those are the ones that were mainly of interest to me. But yeah, it's just a really great car, and I think they look really nice on these twin sort of US spec, federal spec headlights. I think they just look really, really neat. That is a beautiful car. Again, I forgot to look at the estimate. 25 to 30. So that's a real beauty. We've got an XJR, one of the V8 powered Jaguar XJRs over here. X308 series, same era as our XJ Sport. Very handsome car. 370 brake. Rolls over here. An XJ Series 1. So that's a standard wheelbase XJ6 on a G plate. So let's have a quick look at this. Is it manual or auto? Automatic gearbox. That's got the 3-speed Borg Warner engine. It's a standard wheelbase. They did the L's, the XJ6L, and they put an extra few inches in the rear door here. Always have to look at the rear arches. There should be a little seam there where the arch joins the top of the sill. So clearly this one's had some restoration work, but it's very straight. Great looking cars these. I think I really do like these a lot. So it's a 4.2. It's got the early style backlight arrangement. So most Series 1s, and indeed the Series 2s that came after, you've got the lights here, and then there's like a rectangular reflector below here. But on the very early XJ6s, the reflector was built into the reversing light on the back panel there. So that's a sign from the back that you're looking at a fairly early XJ. The early XJs also had straight exhaust pipes. They didn't have these curvy tail trip pieces here. Originally they used to exit there, but they were prone to drawing the fumes in via the boot seal on the back there, so they changed that in production after a little while to put these curvy bits on just to move the exit of the exhaust pipes out, so there was less chance of drawing in the fumes. And this one should also have, I think, the chrome rimmed dials on the dash, which is another sign of a fairly early XJ. And yes, this has got the chrome, I'm not sure if you can see that, but yes, it has got the chrome rims to the gauges on the dash. Yeah. Nice looking car. The Leaper isn't an original thing. I'll take that off if it was mine. It's a bit big. Otherwise, yeah, it's got, take the mud flaps off, and that's a lovely looking car. Next to that we have a 6-cylinder XJ, an XJ6, one of the X300 cars. And oh, what do we have here? A 2002 XJ8 Sport, identical, apart from the wheels, identical to our car, which is sat at home at the moment. Yeah, same colour, exactly the same spec, same year, 2002, because ours is an 02. Well, it was re-registered by the previous long-term owner. Looks to be in very similar condition. No reserve on this one. Wow. Modern and elegant combination of light blue metallic paint. One of the last X308 generation XJ models. 64,000 miles. It's a bit less than ours. I wonder what this will end up going for. Talking of Jaguars, a couple of Series 1s. Seeing these two next to each other, you can just spot some of the differences. Ignore the different grills, because different grills they varied depending on the spec level. But if you look at this car here, it's the V8, and it has these little chrome corners on the top of the bumper. Those don't go all the way across, whereas on the 6-cylinder cars the chrome blade goes all the way across. And also the front indicators here and around there are just curved off slightly, whereas on the 6-cylinder cars they're a bit more angular. So lots of subtle differences when you're comparing the X300, the 6-cylinder cars, with the replacement, the V8. Here we have a Rover SD1, the Rover Vitesse, circa 1984. Magnificent Bentley Continental over there. I love the little headlamp wipers. Perfect for a little jolly to the south of France, perhaps. And what do we have over here? Let's cheat. It's a Silver Dawn. No reserve. Wow. You'd have to be feeling brave to put a car into an auction with no reserve, I would have thought. I guess the theory is it generates interest. But you'd have to be brave. Oh, nice car. Lovely car. On the end here, the Bentley T1, so the Bentley version of the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 1. Looking a lot happier than the Restoration Pro example just over the back over there. This one's pretty presentable. And I do like the curvy radiator shell of the Bentley T1. It's just a little bit curvier compared to the Rolls-Royce alternative, and the Bentley versions are quite a lot rarer, I believe, compared to the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. Over here, XJS, a 4-litre XJS, a Series 1 Land Rover glistening in the sun. There was a few spits and spots of rain a moment ago, but this is a lovely looking Landy. Got an RS 2000 Escort. Porsche 924 over there, 924 Le Mans, no less. That's quite a rare edition. A 4-door 3 Series Beamer here, the E36. 911, a Mark II Vauxhall Astra GTE on an H-plate. So that's quite a groovy car. Rival to the XR3i and I guess the VW Golf GTI. Probably rarer than both. The Lotus Elise. And the Nissan Figaro, a retro car based on the platform of the Nissan Micra. Over here, a menagerie of minis headed up by a minivan. Looks like it's fresh out of restoration. What year is that? 1981. Estimate 10 to 12. Let's carry on up here. Got an R-Edge Mini. What's that, about 97, 98, something like that. A Mini convertible. This is not one of the factory conversions. And next to that we have a left-hand drive Innocenti Mini Cooper. These have got the 1275 in, but this is in the Innocenti, the Italian built cars. These are pretty rare. They've got opening quarter lights on the doors. That's a feature of these cars as opposed to the UK market cars. Different grille. We've got the Leyland Innocenti badge on there, but I do like that. That's the correct badge for an Innocenti. And these also have really nice dashboards with a whole row. Hope we can see in through the window, but they have a whole row of gauges and like a plastic binnacle. Hope we can see in there. Yeah, they have a really nice dash in these. Arguably much nicer than the British equivalent, which would have been the Mark III Mini Cooper S at the time. So yeah, that's really nice. No reserve on this one either. Yeah, I really like that. Different headlamp rims as well compared to the British cars, slightly different profile. So yeah, lots of detail differences compared to a UK market original. Different wheels as well. So that's, yeah, it's a very special little car. Funny colour. Yeah, I do like that. Got a Mark II Austin Mini Cooper alongside. So this is its slightly older brother, the Austin Cooper on a G plate. And a much later Mini Cooper on the end here. Well, as often happens, I forgot to bring spare batteries. Well, they're in the car, so let's just wander back over there. It's certainly filled up a little bit more of the field here. We'll have a bit of a proper look around here later. There's quite a lineup of MX-5s, and we've been joined by a Series 1 fixed head. Yeah, a bit of everything here today. In fact, this is probably a good opportunity to have a walk around the general classic car parking area here. We've got a Spitfire 1500 next to a Series 1 Land Rover with trailer. And I've got a feeling this is the one we saw at the Anything Goes evening meet at Malpas just a week or two back. On the end of the row we have a glorious Riley base special. This is a car that I had a passenger ride in quite a few years ago now, and it went surprisingly well. The owners of this one also have a lovely maroon Jensen CV8 that has featured here on the Old Classic Car channel on many occasions. This has been on before as well, but not so often, I suspect. Yeah. Great little car, great landing next to it. The Spitty, the 1500, the last version of the Triumph Spitfire. We've got a facelifted XJS Coupe over here on an Irish registration number. Merc, the Esprit, Mark 1 Mini, an Austin 7 badged Mark 1 Mini on reverse rim wide steel wheels. Looks just great on those. Yeah, it's got the crinkly grille of the Austin as opposed to the Morris version, the Morris Mini Minor. Great to see, lovely, proper old style number plate. Sometimes the number plates you see, the old silver and black plates, they've just got the wrong typeface completely, but they look just right. Complete with Cheshire and Staffordshire BMC map in the rear parcel shelf there. I used to have one of those in the A40 when that was on the road, and it'll go back in when it is on the road again. And look at this, the old Vauxhall E-Series Cresta. This is a car that's been on show around this area for many, many years. Often there are two of them turned up together, but not today. But yeah, so that's a North Wales registration, CA. From mid-1950s, the Cresta was a 6-cylinder car. So you had the Wyvern, which was the sort of the entry-level E-Series Vauxhall saloon of the mid-50s. Then you had the Velox, which introduced a 6-cylinder engine, and then the Cresta was the top of the tree with extra trim, glitz, extra chrome, and so on. So this was the top of the range at the time. The early E-Series cars were notable because, I'm not sure if this is one of them or not, but some of them, the very early ones, they had side opening bonnet. So it's a one-piece bonnet, but you could open it at either side. You could either open it like that, or you could open it like that, depending on which side of the engine you wanted to work on, which was pretty cool. Some of the early Buicks, sort of circa 1940 Buicks, also had the same feature. The later ones, they just went to a conventional rear-hinged one-piece bonnet. Yeah, that's pretty groovy. And they still continued with these chrome strakes along the bonnet, just like on the pre-war Vauxhalls, like the 10s, the 12s, the 14s. That was a feature of Vauxhalls going right back to the 1920s and possibly even before that. And it carried on right through the 1950s, as you can see on this magnificent E-Series Cresta. So as I say on every video here on the Old Classic Car channel, I try and show a bit of everything, but prioritising the older cars. Over here we've got an Alpine, the A610 Turbo, rear-engined, or maybe mid-engined. The Lotus Esprit. Next to that we have a vintage Bentley, I assume 3 litre or thereabouts. Mini Clubman Estate, 1977-78. Martini liveried Mini, that's nice, I like that. A beautiful little Moggy Mine 1000 here from the late 1950s. It's on an A registration, so it's just early 1960s perhaps. A beautiful powder blue 4-door, the Mordor Morris, still with the semaphore pop-up indicators. Still with the sprung steering wheel, which was a feature of this age of car. Yeah, really, really lovely little car, that one. Yeah, definitely one of my favourite colours for a Morris, and I like the earlier backlights on these compared to the bigger, chunkier lights which the later Moggy Thousands had. Yeah, really nice. It's been supplemented by some extra flashing indicators. Okay, here's a car we caught a glimpse of earlier on. This is at the end of our row. The Saab Sonnet. No, you often don't see one of those. That's my phone just beeping. So I better go and see what he wants. Right, where was I? Oh yeah, Saab Sonnet, the fiberglass bodied Saab Sonnet. Now this is one of the V4 cars, a little bit later. They did, was it 3, I think, different versions of this. This is sort of the middle era car, I believe. The later ones had a much different front. They didn't have this style of front on them. A very neat little two-seater sports car powered by the Ford V4 engine, the Ford of Cologne V4 engine. I'm not even sure if they ever sold these here. I think they're all left-hand drive, and I've got a feeling the only ones that are in this country are ones that people have brought in themselves. This one's got the Mini Light style wheels made by Ronal, which if we look down there, we can see the name. Yeah, really funky little car. So unusual to see one of these here in the UK. It can't be many. Great and very nifty little car. So I think they're all left hookers. Yes, what a great little car that is. Seems to have a TR5 over the back there. That's the TR250. So that's the American spec version. The American market car, which had carburetors instead of fuel injection, which was a feature of the UK TR5s. Porsche 928. Right here, so we have a Lotus Elan, one of the M100 series cars, front wheel drive, Isuzu engine in these. Quite a gathering of MX-5s along here. Bonnet up on the red one. Just scoot round here quickly. I can see a few more cars further down past where we are parked. So let's just carry on down here past our little yellow one. It's the only yellow one here so far. There's a Series 1.5, the 4.2 litre. Of course the first E-types were the 3.8. But these are classed, I think, as the 1.5. And the very last Series 1.5s had the open headlights. But these look great, I think, with the glass covers. Probably didn't do much for the effectiveness of the lighting, but they certainly look good. Porsche 944 here. Very nice car. And here, a Riley 1.5. Got a bit of info on the screen, so we always like a bit of that. This one's 1962, a 1.5 Mark II XPM 495. This is the only known surviving 1.5 with a factory fitted sunroof. Island green and Old English white. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. Steel sunroof. Okay, next row, and we have a mini sidewalk, one of many limited edition minis that were produced in the 1990s. Yeah, a friend of mine's got one of these tucked away in his barn. He's had it for many years. Very distinctive, unique to the model interior trim in these. Were they all this colour? Possibly. Yeah, pretty cool car. If we just carry on along here. Porsche, so what year is that? It's on the G. Or could this be a 912 then? A 4-cylinder boxer engine as opposed to the 6 of the 911. Yes, no, it is a 911E, so it's a fairly early 911. There we go, early 911S registry. There you go, 911E. Great set of pipes sticking out the back. Great colour as well. Mini Cooper with the bonnet raised. Okay. MGB Roadster, another one there with LED headlamps. An MG Midget. Got a few MGs here. Got a Citroen BX. Such is the variety of the cars here. Yeah. It's quite a rare sight now. One of the revised Corvette C1s. This one's a 59 according to the date on the number plate there, which is handy. The early cars had single headlamps per side. This is one of the facelifted C1s. I love the badge on the front. Ooh, bagel. Thank you very much.
Have a look at your thing.
Yes, you can. Right, there's an Alpha. I love the little Alpha Spider. Let's have a closer look at this glorious little Topolino. Not a Fiat Topolino or Little Mouse. GTN 555. So this is a 1938 4-cylinder 570cc side valve with 13 brake horsepower. 4 speed, synchro on the top 2 gears. Wow. Was that the car keys? Thank you. Yeah, what a bonny little car this is. Oof. Mrs. OCC would approve of this one.
Should approve of the look. I'm not sure about anything else, the driving.
I don't know, I think she'd drive that, don't you? What a great little car that is. I love that. Great little vertical door handles. Many louvers in the bonnet. Yeah. Morgan here. Carman gear. Air-cooled VW engine. MGB. A rubber bumper on an R plate. A fastback Mustang. Air-cooled 911. And on the end here, mildly modified MGC GT, complete with the Sebring style Perspex covers over the headlights. Another row and another huge variety. We've got a W123 series Mercedes, the old E-Class Mercs, built in the 70s and the 1980s. Real quality cars. This one's got an auto box. I'm guessing this is probably a 230E. Some of the more basic models, I think the 200s had different headlights. They had like 2 circular headlamps, whereas these have the rectangular sort of fish tank type lenses and lights on the front. There's a Honda S800 just coming in on a trailer. Yep, it is a 230E. Nice car. Next to that, a great little Alpine AU110. We saw this one last time we saw this, I think it was at Goresworth Hall, this particular example. Lovely little car, I do like this. Had a quick chat to the owner just before over near the auction area. Great car. MG here, is this the V8? Yeah, this belongs to Richard, who's one of the followers of the Old Classic Car and the Car Traction YouTube channels. Porsche 944 here, 289 Cobra replica, handsome machine. The original Cobras were based on the AC Ace. Carroll Shelby over in the States decided that it'd be a good idea to shoehorn the big Ford V8 engine into it, and that's how the Cobra was born. A Nissan here, a Skyline GTR. Moggy in a very unusual purple colour. A few mods on this one, debumpered. Slightly wider wheels on the back, I think possibly off the Morris Minor van. I like the clock that's replaced the horn push. That's a novel little modification. I don't know where the horn push is now. Yeah, that's quite cool. There's a review of that lovely 1750 Alpha Spider, the boat tail Spider. 2 fantastic Italian cars together here at the OULTON Park Gold Cup. Let's carry on down here. Neat Beetle here on Porsche wheels. Got a Jaguar XK8 behind the Citroen BX. TVR. Another of the SL Mercedes. MGBs, various shapes and sizes and eras. The Lotus Europa, the twin cam. Didn't these have a Renault 16 gearbox in them? Something like that. And another Austin Healey on the end here. Got a bit of Bill Haley and the Comets on the PA behind me. We will carry on up here past this swoopy, very low Ginetta. I really like the shape of those. So that is a Ginetta G33. The handy information sheet in the window tells us. That's handy. We've got a Lotus XL up here. Saab 99L, the Combi Coupe, the hatchback version of the Saab 99. And the back end of that from the screen backwards would become the 900 with a longer front on it, but this is the 99, the 3-door hatch. Another Jaguar E-Type, this time a Series 3, and all of the Series 3s had the 5.3 litre V12 engine. Jaguar's V12 engine, the single camper bank, made its debut in the E-Type before being added to the XJ, which created the XJ12, the Series 1 cars. The engine made its debut in cars just like this, the Series 3, available either as a Roadster or as the 2+2 Coupe. Manual and auto versions were available. We've got a Mitsubishi Evo here, Mini with earlier grille. Great, look at this, this is quite an early Series 1 Landy, so I'm guessing, I mean the Land Rover came out in 48, so this could be 48, 49, maybe 50. When did they stop putting the headlights behind the grills? I know most of the Series 1s we see don't have the headlights covered by the grills like this one, but off the top of my head I'm not quite sure what year the changeover took place, but it was designed by Maurice Wilkes. I'm sure Land Rover could never have predicted just how successful the Land Rovers would grow to be, inspired by the wartime Willys Jeep. Another E-Type here, Series 1, the C-Reg 1965. There's a 66 alongside it. Capri 2.8i. Mazda MX-6, the V6 powered coupe, quite a rare sight now. Lovely 911 Carrera left-hand drive. That's really nice looking car. Triumph TR4. I saw one of these over in the auction area. Another Wedge 350i TVR, and again there was one of those in the auction as well. Clio Williams, the Renault Clio Williams 2. So this is one of the second sanction Williams approved cars. Very neat. A Sunbeam Tiger, a 260 cubic inch V8 engine under that much louvered bonnet, but to all intents and purposes it looks pretty similar to the Alpine on which it was based. Of course, usually these have two huge exhaust pipes sticking out of the back. And of course, it's got Tiger on the front wing as well, but yeah, very, very similar to the Alpine. And on the end here, we've got a 48, what's that then? Ford? Correction, Chevrolet. Next row, and look at this Chevy. Wowzers, step-side pickup truck. Sat on the deck, presumably on air suspension. Great aged sign writing.
You see the bed has to be higher up.
Oh yeah, so the bed is quite high, isn't it?
These to get the wheels so high up in the arches to get it that low.
I see what you mean, yes.
Some of the inner structure out, so obviously you can't have this as low.
No, no.
Alan Key's haven't seen that before.
Yeah, looks like a bit of fun.
To some Natifolds.
This A35 we get to see everywhere now. This is a very well travelled little car. It's been all over Europe raising money for charities. There we go, Monte Carlo or bust. That's great, isn't it? Right, Fiat 126 over here. Some pretty moody looking clouds in the background. We've got a Volkswagen Scirocco Mark II. Great Saab 96 V4 over here. A very similar engine to that in the Saab Sonnet that we were ogling just a few minutes ago. 911 MG Magnet here, Veritone MG Magnet, two-tone with a bigger back window. Very handsome motor car, slightly larger diameter mini-light style wheels on this one. So this was MG's sporting saloon for the 1950s. Very similar in style to the Gerald Palmer designed Wolseley 444. And on the end here, the 911 Carrera. Got a selection of old Land Rovers here in the auction area too. I missed these before. I find myself drawn not to the shiny immaculate examples over there, or the military spec one here, But this, very, very faded, but oh so original paint. I wonder what it's like underneath. I know the chassis on these long wheelbase is at the 109. It can be a bit prone to cracking somewhere along its length, so we'll have to have a proper poke around underneath it. Yeah, Series 3 109, 1977. Estimate 6 to 8. Looks like it's been parked somewhere damp. Lots a lot of oil spreading around under there, just to help preserve it. Because the chassis are steel and can rot away merrily, while the aluminium bodywork usually still looks quite presentable. These are all aluminium panels, the wings, the door skins and so on. The bulkhead here is steel, so we always have to check these, especially at the bottom, down there and below the screen, just to make sure it's not rotten. And there's some very dark clouds coming over. Belgian registered Citroen DS here. And it's just starting to rain. There are also some VSCC races today and tomorrow. Look at this fantastic little GN. Some lovely single seaters over here. Got a pair of Cooper Bristols. Type of car that was raced by the likes of Mike Hawthorne in 1958, Formula 1 world champion of course. Yes, he drove these, Bristol Power 6-cylinder engine, not single-seater. These complied to the Formula 2 regs, I believe. Of course that's the same Cooper as the name that you see on so many souped up minis, John Cooper. All sorts of cars. Got an ex-Bruce McLaren car here. That's Bruce McLaren, driver, team owner, team founder from New Zealand. It's starting to rain a bit more now. We've got Graham Hill, Jack Brabham. Of course, Jack Brabham, the only world champion to win in a car of his own making, with his own name on the door. And 2 Cooper Bristols here today. Must they wouldn't have had these roll cage things back in the 1950s. Yeah. Bit of the damp stuff coming down now. Various Coopers under this gigantic awning. We've got a Cooper Monaco here. Some fantastic cars. Of course, Graham Hill, world champion as well, father of Damon Hill. Died in a plane crash at about the time that he actually ran his own Formula 1 team in the about 1974 or thereabouts. Who remembers the little, was it Corgi or Dinky model of the Embassy Hill Formula 1 car? That was Graham Hill's team. Oh, some glorious cars here. I'll just show some of the competition prepared cars here. Oh, lovely to see them being worked on in the paddock here. I know this isn't a motorsport channel really, but we all love a good engine. Tucked away over here in the corner of the paddock we have 2 Maserati 250Fs. These are just glorious. These are the Cameron Miller era cars. These were built after they were current race cars, I believe, but to the original design.
Pleased to see you.
I do love this era front engine Grand Prix car. Stunning, stunning cars.
It's totally metric because it's expanded Italian, so I don't think it's like when you get a Cooper like that.
I do love crawling around a race paddock. You just see a little bit of everything. Another vintage GN over here, so solid front axle, little quarter elliptic, front springs on it. Hydraulic brakes. There are also quite a few little 500cc races out here this weekend. This is a Cooper. The drivers such as Sterling Moss cut their teeth on cars just like this. An early Triumph Vitesse over here. And if that'll be out racing today. There's a race specifically for Ferraris here today as well. Now over here is a tribute to Alan Minshaw, founder of Demon Tweaks, who passed away recently. He had and raced a huge variety of cars, and some of them are here today. Chevron, the little Repco Brabham, the Maserati Birdcage, the Chevron, look at this DAF. Some years ago, when the pageant of power over at Cholmondeley Castle was still a thing, I got to have a ride in this car. This is an ex-Roland Ratzenberger touring car racing BMW M3. And there is a very early video on the channel back, put up about 2010 I think it was, of me on board in this exact car at Cholmondeley. I think that was around about 2009. So we're going back a little bit. The footage wasn't great, but it was just insane to go around the pageant of power course in this incredible M3. It was just something I'll never forget. It was just an incredible, incredible car. Of course, Roland Ratzenberger, he raced in Formula 1 and died in a crash at Imola. He died at the same race meeting in 1994 as Ayrton Senna on the day before. So that was a very dark weekend in the history of Formula 1. Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna died the same weekend. And Rubens Barrichello also had a huge accident, and it was amazing that he walked away from that too. But yes, I've got great memories of sitting in a seat which was in there and going around the pageants of power course in this exact car. It was just a spectacular. The noise was just incredible. There goes the birdcage. There's going to be a track demonstration of these Alan Minshaw cars. There's also a race for the 1970s era of super saloons and mod sports, hence some pretty modified cars, including this bonkers Morris Minor. Yeah, Mod Sports was a series that ran in the 70s, and you got some really wildly modified cars just like this Moggy. This Peugeot 309 looked spectacularly quick in qualifying earlier this morning. It was immensely fast. As was this. Nice to see one of these racing here this weekend as well. This Corvette Stingray looked like a bit of a handful as well when we saw it going around earlier. Huge V8 engine. Now, one car that I definitely wanted to have a closer look at was this, which I guess it started out as an Austin A30. Quite how much A30 is still in there is anyone's guess, but it looked phenomenal out on the circuit. There you go. Historic Mod Sports and Special Saloon Series. So that's what this one is entered in. Very good. Mighty V8 power plant where a little 803 A series would have once sat. Ferraris are gathered here in the assembly area. They're the next ones to go out. .308s, 328s, 355s. Yeah, Ferraris of different ages. It appears we have found VSCC Corner, the Vintage Sports Car Club. Some phenomenal specials take part in VSCC events. If you haven't seen the videos yet, check out the videos we've done at Prescott and OULTON Park. A phenomenal GN here. Just an incredible bit of kit. Fraser Nash. Supercharged MG. Loads of 500cc racers here this weekend. This is the Star Ride. Many of these were powered by motorcycle engines, in this case Norton. Big 500cc singles usually. Cooper, well, John Cooper started out making 500cc race cars, formed out of two Fiat Topolino chassis. That's how he started out as a race car builder. SD1. Those little 500s are fantastic. The smell of Castrol R is just like nothing else. Anyway, slightly more recent times here, well, 1980s anyway. BMW M3, another M3 alongside that. Steve Soper. And a Triumph over here. Over here in the scrutineering bay, we've got a magnificent Talbot Lego. Very, very tasty car, pre-war French. Onto the weighbridge. A great old special powered by V8 Ford. We see this one at various hill climb events. OULTON Park, Prescott, Shelsley Walsh. This is the LMB, or Leslie Bellamy. He of many Ford tuning parts in the 1950s. Always a real hive of activity in the paddock area.
Simon gave them to us for the Are you staying for dinner?
What you do on the Never Never?
Right, we've had a good mooch around the paddock area. Let's just go past this Holden Ute, quite a rare thing. Australia's finest, so we're going to go and find the track and watch a few things going around.
And you say no, like you say, what, 70 odd years old?
Yeah.
Oh, not bad.
I've seen it enough, 85 times, but didn't make it.
That's true, yeah.
No, I really did.
exciting. Number 12 is Graham. And exciting, 7, that's Roy Davis with Triumph Mark 1. Now that's...
Well, the Mod Sports and 70s Super Saloons are forming up for the grid for their start of their race. Well, we're just negotiating the 500cc paddock en route back to the car, and we'll grab a quick sandwich and then we'll be all ready for this afternoon's activities. Well, the bonnet is now up, kind of, on the Shadow 1 restoration project, so we can have a quick ogle under there and admire the complexity of that 6.75 litre V8 engine. Do not look underneath. Do not look underneath. Why is it poor? No, I don't think I'll be able to get back up if I look underneath.
How's it got this like this?
Still some impressively dark clouds around, but hopefully they are blowing around us. Classic tractors as well as live steam, all sorts down here. And that's what's great about the Gold Cup, it's not just racing cars, it's road cars, tractors, double-decker buses, auction cars, and quite a bevy of classic tractor activity, including this lovely Massey Ferguson 35 and the equally delectable David Brown alongside. The Tomasos, Aston Martin V8, Ferrari, back in the scrutineering bay, and look at this magnificent Alfa Romeo. Wow. TR display has thinned out a little bit compared to before. There may be quite a few cars that we didn't get to see here because there's simply so much going on, but we will have a quick scoot round just in case there is anything interesting still here. Very, very nice indeed. Couple of cars left on the Club Marcos stand. My spidey senses tell me there is an old estate car nearby, and yes, fantastic, one of the big Farina, well, medium-sized Farina estates. Bit of a work in progress on TR6 wheels by the look of it. But I do love these estates. This is the Austin version, I believe. Very cool, very practical classic car. Got a particularly nice steering wheel. MGC Roadster. And the Alpha GTV behind that. Several Gilburns here today. Wales' finest. Here we have the Gilburn GT. Again, fiberglass bodywork, very, very neat little cars, quite often BMC powered. And another one over here. Bit of variety along here. MGA Roadster, it's a 1600, MGB GT rubber bumpers, another MGA Roadster, a Honda S800, make that 2, no, make that 3, or maybe 5 Honda S800s. What a treat to see all them here together. This one German registered. Another very smart example of the W123. Now, earlier on I mentioned how some of the lower spec cars, the lower trim levels, have these little circular lamps instead of the horizontal ones, and here we have an example of just that. So I'm going to guess at 200E, but I haven't looked at the back, honest. We shall see. Am I right? Yes, it's 200. So there we go. You don't actually see many of the slightly smaller engine versions of the W123 E-Class Mercedes. This one has a passenger wing mirror, so I'm guessing, or door mirror rather, so I'm guessing that's probably an optional extra, because Mercedes were well known for many things being optional extras, extra cost options on their cars. But yeah, what a beauty. This one is a very fetching shade of pale green metallic as well. The gentleman who owns this particular midget has excellent taste in his YouTube viewing habits. Thank you very much for buying the stickers from our respective merch stores, link in the description. Flat nose 911, or as it's known in Porsche world, the 930 Turbo. Alongside that, another example of the Porsche 928 front-engined V8. And what do we see all on its own over here? Recreation of the infamous, the famous, the wonderful Jaguar C-Type, or XK120C, as it was officially known in Jaguar world at Browns Lane in the early 1950s. Designed very much with competing in international events such as Le Mans, and very successful at it was. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun indeed. The Reliant Scimitar Owners Club are putting on a fine demonstration of their handbraking ability. This is actually a Middlebridge Scimitar, one of the later cars built by Middlebridge after Reliant had long since put the Scimitar GT out of production. Got various examples along here. Got an earlier Scimitar Coupe, somewhat modified. More GTEs here. This is a lovely one. Very big Wolf Race alloy wheels. An SE5. So that's the SE5 version of the Scimitar GTE. Alongside it, the slightly later, the slightly larger SE6. Same power, slightly bigger body. It's just starting to rain. Still, we've been pretty lucky today. The forecast this afternoon especially was less than promising. I think probably the final car we'll feature in today's video, thanks to the damp stuff which is starting to come down, is this rare early 1970s Sunbeam Alpine fastback. You occasionally see the Rapiers. I went to a Roots Group rally just a week or so ago, but you don't see many of these, the Alpine. This was a slightly lower trim level, I believe, but yeah, there seem to be way fewer of these around compared to the Rapier. So what a treat to see this mint example here today. Actually, I'll tell a lie, that isn't the last car to be featured. This is the last car to be featured. Now, if you've been on the channel for a little while, you may well remember seeing this one before. On New Year's Day, we went over to the Black Swan Public House for the first time for their New Year's Day classic car meeting, and parked right outside the pub under the main sign was this glorious Austin 16. What a cracking car this is, just post-war. It looks pre-war, but it is just post-war. I can't remember when they were introduced, about 1945 or 46, around about that kind of time. And yeah, we featured this particular car back on New Year's Day. But it's such a lovely car, we'll feature it again, why not? And yeah, what a great car that is. No, there we go, this one is a 1948 example. Beautiful car, and really contemporary of our old V8 Pilots, which hopefully tomorrow we'll be out and about in at another meeting, and that will hopefully feature on the Old Classic Car channel, just like this one. So I think we will probably wrap things up on this very, very high note. Well, thank you very much anyway for watching this day 2 of the 2024 Oulton Park Gold Cup meeting. Alas, we are not able to come here tomorrow, we are elsewhere. So yeah, it's just Saturday that we could come. It starts on Friday, runs through to Saturday and Sunday afternoon. So yeah, anyway, our day here Saturday has been very, very memorable for all the right reasons. Some fantastic cars. Those Formula 5000s, the sound, the noise was just incredible, and it's great to see a couple of Maserati 250Fs out at play as well. So thank you so much for watching. Please check out the rest of the channel, and there'll be many, many more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now.